Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. So today's video I'm going to be reviewing the R32 GTR Nismo, and in all honesty I can finally admit I was pretty much wrong about this car all along. Originally I was under the assumption it was a copy paste job, however after testing it out in both standard and modified form, it certainly sits apart as its own vehicle, and it certainly has its own little unique mods as well as handling as well. It certainly almost makes the original GTR R32 pretty much irrelevant. So if you're going to buy this car for yourself, it's going to take you back 400,000 credits, a little bit on the more expensive side, should I say. As you can see, this one comes with around about 17,000 miles on it, 306 brake horsepower, a PP rating of 508.43, and overall this is a fantastic car. A little bit more pricey, but I'm going to assume most people, since this car's new anyway, are going to go ahead and pick this one up. So if you've never joined me for a car review video, this is exactly how it's going to work. We're going to do a hot lap around the Nordschleife, one single lap to test out the car in its standard form. So this will be exactly how you buy it from whichever dealership and such, Brand Central, USD, Legendary, and then essentially we'll just take it around a hot lap, test it out and see how fast it goes on our leaderboard. Now it has been reset due to physics changes and such, so it will only be the cars that are reviewed since that update where all the physics kind of swapped around. Then we'll take it for a modified hot lap around the high speed ring, which has once again been reset, mainly due to the fact that ultimate parts or special tuning parts are now a buyable thing, which means there's a lot more horsepower on offer for certain cars. And to kind of make it fair and in line, I've kind of reset the board, so we only actually have the Alfa Romeo Giulia from this update as well that's actually on that leaderboard. We do have a couple more on the more standard leaderboard. So let's talk about the R32 Nismo. In all honesty, I think when we first originally saw this car, most people were under the assumption that this was pretty much a copy-paste job. Obviously, we're just going off the looks and the type of car it is. It felt like a very similar situation to the Silvias that we got a few months ago, so towards the end of 2022. Again, a lot of people were just crying out that they're copy-paste jobs. It felt a bit lazy, and there's plenty of other cars we would have. And, well, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's a lot of cars I'd like from Gran Turismo 7, but in all honesty, again, it just comes down to licensing and such. So I still gave the car a chance, and whilst at first I wasn't absolutely blown away by it, I then went to do my proper review and tests on this car, and straight away I changed my mind. Overall, this car honestly feels like a massively different vehicle. It handles better, it brakes better, and overall it just feels much quicker. Obviously the original R32 GTR is no slouch, but this essentially takes that exact same platform and makes it better in every other way. There is just no way of beating around it. This is the better of the R32 GTRs in game, which realistically it should be. It's a homologation special. However, I'm going to go one step further and say this is possibly now my favorite GTR badged car within the game. I mean, I'm a sucker for an R32, but to have the Nismo feel this good and drive this well, it certainly exceeded my expectations, and I'm absolutely in love with this thing. Straight away I noticed the handling. Although the kind of car looks quite high up and very much floaty, it certainly isn't. It absolutely smashes itself through the corners with that four-wheel drive system. It feels a lot better through exits and entries of corners. The brakes overall just felt 10 times better. It just seemed to stop on a dime, and it felt like it had a very good sense of speed. It's by no means absolutely ridiculous, but for a car around this horsepower and around this PP rating, it felt much better than the standard for that. So overall, is this an improvement over the R32? Yes, definitely. It's much better than the standard GTR we have. Is it an improvement over a lot of cars around a similar PP rating and a kind of, I guess, power rating as well? Yeah, it felt very, very good. It felt very, very planted and very, very quick, especially on the tight and twisty sections. But it does have a 400,000 price tag, which seems rather expensive. I know it kind of, I guess, supposedly mimics real world prices. Obviously this being the homologation, 500 units and all that, it kind of makes sense, but this is still a video game we're talking about, and in all honesty, does it make sense to go ahead and purchase this car? For me personally, yes. I honestly think the performance you're getting and the bass you're getting for a good tune is fantastic. You know, you're going to have fun either way. You want to drive it standard, it's going to be enjoyable. Want to modify it and make it an absolute ridiculously, powerful machine, a full-blown race car, you can do that. It is a good base platform, and I honestly think this is a fantastic car, even for the 400,000 credit price tag. But it's going to be very subject to your own personal opinion. I'm not going to go ahead and say just go and splash it out. If you're kind of low on credits or there's other cars you want, then maybe go for them first. But would I say just completely ignore this car? No. In all honesty, if I had to say pick one between the original R32 GTR we have and the Nismo, I would definitely say just pay that extra and go for the Nismo. It is absolutely worth those credits. So there we have it. In terms of the standard performance, the R32 Nismo GTR is a step up from the original R32 GTR, and it is a fantastic car for its PP rating, power rating, and it handles well and brakes absolutely fantastic. There is just a certain feeling when you're throwing this through the tighter sections of a course that is just absolutely unmatched. It's an experience I've not had for a long time, maybe as far back as the road going version of the Porsche Cayman GT4, and that is a car I absolutely fell in love with in its standard form once I was kind of reviewing it and lapping it around the Nordschleife. So let's see how this car actually got on. So the R32 Nismo GTR comes 13th overall on our leaderboard. Obviously it has been reset since the update. That means it beats the likes of a Porsche Carrera GTS 904 from 1964. The Mazda 3 absolutely smashes that by over a minute, and it's around about 20 seconds or so off the Porsche 959 from 1987. It really has done a fantastic job there. However, that's not all. Obviously, like I mentioned at the start of the video, we are going to modify it. We are going to get it as powerful as we possibly can, as much performance points as possible, as many modifications, and well, this is it. It looks like a period correct JGTC touring car. It's fantastic, it's fast, and it does absolutely do a fantastic job around the track. One thing you may notice once you wide body this thing, the customization options are actually different from the original GTR, which definitely gives it its own vibe and allows you to create some very seriously wide looking race cars. So we're going to head out to the high speed ring. This is obviously only the second car since the reset to take to the lap, and in all honesty, I pretty much certainly am guaranteeing that this is going to be the Alfa Romeo we had. While the Alfa Romeo was fantastic through the corners and handles like a little go-kart, this is obviously the high speed ring, and well, this car is a lot more potent, hitting upwards of 220 miles an hour. It certainly needed a dab on the brakes to kind of keep it through even some of the faster sections. Obviously, even when they're modified, I cannot then go ahead and do a custom tuning sheet. I just feel like that'd be a little bit too unfair. So what I do is I put all the performance mods on, keep the car on its standard tuning sheet once those parts are on, racing soft tires, and basically give it a shot at the high speed ring. And in all honesty, it felt fantastic. Maybe sometimes a little too powerful for some of these lower speed corners. The four-wheel drive system is certainly working overtime, but it's definitely a comfortable drive. It's putting out around about 800 plus brake horsepower, I believe, and it certainly handles that very, very well. You really are getting a great base for performance here, as well as those insane aero mods. It looks and feels absolutely fantastic. So we're going to finish up the lap here, and that is going to be the R32 Nismo done and dusted. And in all honesty, I love doing this lap. I love the performance that I got from the car, and I absolutely love the look of this thing. So let's go and see how it did up against our little Alfa Romeo. So here's our leaderboard. As you can see, this one comes in first. I think it was quite obvious. 764.49 pp compared to 619.84 pp. Both racing softs. It came in with a 105.521 compared to a 117.507. So that is now the benchmark to go off. Overall, this was a fantastic car. I fully recommend giving it a shot. And honestly, I really think this is definitely a kind of, it almost makes the original R32 GTR completely pointless at this point. So yes, I am happy to admit that overall I was wrong about this car. It does feel completely different. It does have its own kind of feel and look to it, and it certainly feels like its own unique thing, even if it is, you know, essentially the same generation of R32 GTR. In all honesty, I can now look past that. This is a fantastic machine. In my opinion, it's well worth the price tag, and I genuinely cannot complain about having this car in the game. So honestly, I just want to say a big thank you for your support lately. It's been absolutely incredible. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and turn your notifications on if you don't want to miss an upload from me. I upload GT7 and motorsport related content each and every day for your viewing pleasure. Big thank you to my sponsors, Poggers and the Controller people, for their continued support, as well as my channel members. If you do want to become a channel member, feel free. There'll probably be an option somewhere on this video. I'm not quite sure how YouTube do it, but honestly, a massive thank you to my channel members as well. I have my Twitter, my Discord and my donation link down in the description down below. If you want to check those out, I would absolutely appreciate it. Have a fantastic day, guys. Peace.